Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this Friday afternoon, or maybe it's the evening or early morning for some of you. But wherever you are joining us today from the world, we are so excited with our panelists who are here today. They've known BLLA for a while, and they've become really phenomenal industry friends along the way. And this is the first ever sneak peek of the Boutique Hotel Investment Conference. So we're giving our viewers a sneak peek. If you've been thinking about coming to the conference, not sure if it's the right content for you, this is why we've created it. So I'm going to go through a little bit of information as to what the conference is about, when you do get a ticket, what kind of sessions you'll be hearing, things like that. So I'm going to share my screen. And yeah, so we made this fun little deck for you guys. And if you need any information, it's on at BLLAevents.com. And a huge thank you to our sponsors, INTELITY, as well as Post Integrations. They are premier vendor members of our association as well, and we are very thankful for their support. Here's an overview of the conference. It is the original investment conference for boutique hotels, first of its kind. It was established way back in 2013 by Fran here, who is the other half of the mother-daughter duo of Boutique. This conference was created to prove to the industry that boutique hotels are profitable. Now, this was back in 2013. We're now, 9 years later, and there's no need to prove it. Everyone knows it, right? So it's about taking the sector to new levels, about, it's about strategy talk for authentic boutique hotels, really focusing on the independent boutique side. And so you'll hear strategies, tips, case studies, mentorship, all the good stuff about for those who are involved in investment in hospitality. So we've been producing this conference for 9 years. Up until the pandemic, we've been hosting this the first Wednesday of every June in New York City, the center of commerce. We've been temporarily going digital, but we cannot wait to go back to hosting this particular one in person. And also, just so you know, this is produced by BLLA, the Boutique Lifestyle Leaders Association, and that association has been around for 12 years. It is a really crucial organization in the industry, providing a lot of clarity and resources and bringing the community together. Who is this conference for? It's for those involved with hotels, so the owners, the investors, the developers, the managers, the executives, anyone involved with the boutique hotel. And then also vendors and suppliers, so those involved with technology or design or architecture, real estate, on the finance side, legal side. So it's this whole community of boutique hospitality where somehow you are involved on the investment side. Here are some speakers that are coming: Brian DeLoe of Proper, Hilda Delgado of Viceroy Hotels. We have 50 sessions. Yes, you heard that right. 50 sessions, keynotes, presentations, mentorship circles, virtual speed dating, we have it all. And so far we have 50 speakers. We'll probably end up with a few more, from successful hoteliers to banks to lenders to investors to asset managers to operators. You'll gain exclusive knowledge in how to prepare your investments. Our keynote speakers: Nicholas Clayton, the CEO of Capella Group; Ian Schrager back for the, it's a lot, maybe 6th, 7th time. And I don't think I need to go into who Ian Schrager is because everyone probably knows, the godfather of boutique. We have Hilda Perez Alvarado, she's the CEO of JLL, as well as Andrew Zobler, the CEO of Seidel Group. Here are some agenda topics. Again, the full agenda can be found on BLLAevents.com. Rebuilding amid a pandemic, boutique hotel development, creative debt financing, financing a boutique hotel in today's landscape, all about equity, securing a big deal, case study, view from the chief financial officer, the legal side of things, optimizing your assets, scaling a boutique hotel. So there's no need to sift through Hilton, Hyatt, Marriott content to find what you need about independent boutique. It's only about independent boutique content. There's no need to sift through anything. It's going to be relevant for you, most of the content. So here's why you need to be there. It's about connection. So virtual speed dating, messaging capabilities, mentorship sessions, dedicated networking time, and chat features. There's a ton of ways to connect. Education, panel roundtables, again, mentorship sessions, case studies, spotlight strategy sessions, keynotes, presentations, You'll get a total 360 perspective of boutique hotel investment. And the most important, deal creation. We're giving you a platform to get those deals done. It's going to be up to you. And we always tell, I know a lot of our members are here today, so you've heard me say this a lot, but it's if we collectively ensure that we're connecting and staying extremely engaged in this conference, like there are going to be so many amazing things that happen. And it's also, this conference is, I guess, notorious, but in a great way, about deals get done here. That's what this conference is known for. So, oh, and then there were some speakers coming: Michael Firstman of Pendry, Jennifer Barnwell of Curator, Eric Jafari of Eden Group, Damon Lawrence of Homage Hospitality. What you will learn: financing, operations, ownership, and a lot more. More speakers: Miriam Wheeler of Goldman Sachs, Brad Bloom of Citibank, Richard Arnold of Auberge Resorts, and Tracy Prigmore of She Has a Deal. And before we get to our amazing speakers today, I'll stop sharing for a quick sec. Fran, do you kind of want to tell the crowd really quickly why you started this conference?
Absolutely. Well, I've been in hospitality for a very long time, and it was very apparent to me people were telling me there was no place to congregate where we could just focus on the boutique lifestyle sector. And so I put my hat in the ring and immediately set out 2013 to create the first boutique hotel investment conference. Everybody loved it. And it was widely known within the industry, and it became very popular. And as of today, it's doing very well and growing and growing. So very excited to have brought this to the industry. Thank you, Ariel.
Yeah, and thank you, Fran, Mom. And so I'm really grateful for today's speakers. They will also be speaking at the conference as well. We have a couple of great topics we'll go through today. It's going to be really quick, and it's just to give you a sneak peek as to what you'll be learning at the actual conference. So first up is Omar Palacios. He's the COO and CFO of Geolo Capital. And then we have Joe Long. He's the managing partner of KHP Capital Partners. Hi, guys. So, well, let's get started. And then I always forget to introduce myself. Ariella Karagian, partner and COO at BLLA. Fran is the founder and CEO of BLLA, and we work really closely together for this association and our events. But let's get started here. So, Joe, tell us a little bit about you and how you're involved in the industry.
Sure. So our company, KHP Capital Partners, we're a real estate private equity company based solely on investing in hotels, and 95+% of that in the boutique business. Our fund business started inside of Kimpton Hotels when myself and Mike DePady and Ben Rao, my partners, when we were running Kimpton, we had a fund business inside the company. When we ultimately sold the operating company and the brand to IHG, the fund business was a separate business, and we kept that going, continued to raise money, continued to do the sort of projects that I know a lot of the people that come to your conference and many of your speakers are involved with. Great boutique hotels, taking either older hotels, older buildings. They might be office buildings. It could be all kinds of, an old warehouse, and converting them to these, really great, vibrant boutique hotels. And that's all we do. So we are scouring the country, looking to work with partners all around the country to find these kind of great opportunities where we can create these properties that really have this beautiful life of their own. And all of us at KHP get so excited and so jazzed about what we create.
I remember when Mike was at our conference and he was just launching KHP. He was so excited.
Mm-hmm.
Guys,
yeah, we've got, our most recent fund, we raised $360 million. We're looking to get about $200 million or more of equity, so maybe $600 million worth of deals done this year. So we got a lot of work to do.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Thank you, Joe. Omar, what about you?
Well, thanks for the intro. I work for Geolo. Geolo is John Pritzker's dedicated real estate investment arm. We have a long time association with hospitality. We were previously the owners of a management operating platform, Two Roads Hospitality, that was built through a series of transactions. And we sold it to Hyatt in 2018. And prior to that, we were the largest collection of independent lifestyle hotels. So we're we obviously have a lot of background on the management side. And then at the same time, we're also owners of hotels with basically a higher degree and a higher concentration in boutique and luxury resort. And our goal is to offer distinct, curated experiences to our guests with basically high touch amenities that are in keeping with kind of the spirit and the passion of our founder. My passion for hotels really stems back to One and Only. When I was part of a team of individuals that launched that brand nearly, almost 2 decades ago. So I've been on both sides of it in terms of being in the mix and being on the ground on the operations side, but also on the investment side. And we continue to look for opportunities. It's tougher. It's become really, really challenging because of all the situations that we're dealing with now with COVID and what the demand cycle looks like, which is just so hard to forecast. But I continue to be a strong believer that boutique is a way to go. And I'm also a big believer that ultimately we are gatherers and that we will gather once again. And although we've all gotten really good at technology, as you can see here, we're going to achieve kind of our best objectives through social interaction. And when you've got a great, well-done boutique property, you're going to have the highest opportunity to fulfill people's experiences. So I'm in a good spot because we're trying to find some more things that kind of fit the bill, but there's just not a lot, quite honestly. I know we're going to talk about transactions in a minute.
Yeah. No, I love that you said that. And, hospitality, we're a people industry, and gathering is a part of our DNA as people. So I think hotels are in such a great spot, specifically boutique, because of what you said. And we always like to say they're the center of culture in local areas. And that's what they've transitioned into. They went from you're a hotel because you sell room nights to, you're all these other things. So, well, let's get into the first question because we don't have a lot of time here. Why don't we get started with an investment topic? What types of properties have an edge in the current market?
You want me to go first, Joe? You can go first if you like.
Either way, I'm happy to jump in. So we own 15 hotels and various center city hotels, resort locations throughout the country. Clearly, those hotels that are in leisure destinations, particularly if they're drivable, from a major metropolitan area, and depending on where they're located, are doing dramatically better. Right? We have some properties in South Florida and the Florida Keys. They're doing great. Some leisure properties on the California coast, other than when there were when the state basically got shut down, the stay-at-home order, doing really well. Reasonably well, I shouldn't say really well. And the center city hotels are suffering. So, when you look at it as an investor and you think, okay, well, people I think are going to want to continue to drive to places, right? We were talking earlier about, road trips. This group was, and I think that will continue. On the other hand, one has to wonder, well, these properties in major cities that are running anywhere from on a weekly basis, 10 or 15% occupancy to maybe 40% occupancy, those might be some of the more interesting investment opportunities as we go forward, if you believe that the cities will, the life of cities, what makes them come alive, comes back. And I think fundamentally, we believe that will happen. I think the challenge as investors now is, when will that happen? How long will it take? And then how do you factor that into when you're analyzing an opportunity?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that was a great response. And I think the only other things that I wanted to touch on, clearly resort versus urban, it's kind of a tale of two cities. And we're seeing that in our California property. Since we've reopened, we've seen strong demand for places like Carmel Valley Ranch and Big Sur that people want to see, feel like it's kind of almost like a generational right to see at some point. And so I think that if you can get there and you can drive there, people are much more comfortable to do that. I think the other thing to note is open spaces have real value right now. And even if you're sitting in the middle of the city somewhere, if you've got an open space, a rooftop, for example, anything that can kind of get access to kind of the world outside of you, that's something that's truly attractive, because that can get your business started up faster as opposed to a really tight enclosed space. The tight bar that we used to kind of gather, or the restaurant with all the tables on one another. That's kind of one of those trends that as you're like looking to put money to work, you might not be able to generate as much food and beverage revenue as you thought, because people are not going to be comfortable sitting one on top of one another for some time. But I think Joe made a good point. I think that cities will be attractive. There's still great mega trends out there for people to come back together, and go back to the cities. That's where the jobs are going to be, and that's where ultimately people are going to try to find experiences. So the city is not completely off the table for us, but at the same time, I think it's really selective, and it's still hard to find good value out there.
Yeah, I see that as well. Well, what are some key investment metrics that you've seen since the start of COVID?
Well, I think a lot of people who are investing, have been over the last year. And we acquired a property in October, so it's kind of and not that many deals got done in 2020, but we bought a hotel, and a sizable hotel in Napa. And I think a lot of people are looking at, well, what does it look, how does that price look in relationship to what the 2019 NOI was? And what kind of a discount is that to the pre-COVID values, right? So then everybody always wants to, everyone who invests wants to be able to tell a story, right? I bought it on the cheap. I got this hotel and I really did a great deal.
Distressed.
Good for you.
It's distressed. It's just, everybody wants to say that. And I think in our deal in Napa, I think we bought it at about a 20 to 25% discount to pre-COVID value based on the going in return based on 2019 NOI. But as we go forward, I think a lot of the distress that everybody was expecting has not materialized in lots of deals, and I'm not sure that it will. I think there's a variety of factors, right? We've got PPP money that helps people, stay afloat. We've got the TDR relief that the banks are allowed to work with borrowers in a way that they might have not been able to do without having other, negative consequences regarding their own liquidity. So you sort of piece all these things together, and more owners are able to kind of hang in there. And so who wants to sell if you can hang in? And there are vehicles that are allowing people to hang in there. So I think this sort of crush of amazing deals, once in a lifetime opportunities, et cetera, there haven't been that many, and I think there'll be fewer and fewer. So I think for us, one of the things we're looking at is not just, okay, how interesting is this in relationship to a discount, but are we able to buy assets in markets and physical assets that we think have redeeming qualities that we might not have been able to do pre-COVID, because there were so many other people, a lot of people wanted to do these different deals. And if you can do that, you could feel like, I was able to invest in the type of projects I wanted to, that was getting harder and harder to do pre-COVID. So I think the metrics are going to start moving away from discount to where's the value and where can I create more value.
Right. Omar, do you think also that lenders are becoming kinder and gentler than they have in the past because of kind of the effects of the pandemic, and everybody's more understanding these days?
Kinder and gentler is not exactly the way I would phrase it. I don't think they have a choice. I don't think the lenders want to have a bunch of properties sitting on their balance sheets that they have to oversee. So they have actually been, many of them, I would put it this way, there's a bucket of kind of good owners and bad owners. And those good owners that have kind of, approached their banks and approached them thoughtfully and tried to find a way for a win-win situation have been able to achieve a lot in the last year or so, because the banks do want to work with them. Ultimately, I think at the end of the day, though, owners are still in a situation where they're having to put more money in.
Mhm.
And I think that's probably not a trend that's going to subside for a short while. I mean, we might get a little boost now in the summer as business bounces back, but if we see another kind of wave of the virus come through, and it's still potentially fall and winter is still an uncertain period of time, and a lot of owners have been writing checks to begin with. So Joe made the right point earlier. I think if you can stick it out and you can get through this and you've got the right structure and you have some liquidity behind you, you're going to be okay. PPP was a big help to a number of owners. But I do think that the metric discussion, what is the real metric, and the historical cash flow versus the ownership, kind of the owner, the forward thinking, still really hard to tell because we don't know where this is all going to pencil out. So we look at price per key right now as kind of one key metric in terms of judging whether there's a discount or not. We know it costs this much to build a hotel. At least we think we know it costs this much. There hasn't been that much of a correction in construction costs. If anything, there might be more pressure on construction. So we're looking at it from the basis, well, if we can find a great property in a great market at an attractive level that is a discount to replacement value, that gets us interested. And then secondly, what do we believe this is a real good market going forward? And that's a market that's going to come back on the other side of it. Because I look at the glass half full. I think that on the flip side of it, there's huge pent up demand. People are going to come back, and there's all of this liquidity that's been pumped into the system by our government, between the liquidity and the amount of cash that people have built up and the amount of experiences and lost time from their loved ones, from all their friends, from their colleagues. All of that stuff kind of put together, it's almost like a powder keg of demand. So I don't know if it's this summer or next year, but if you kind of think 2-3 years down the road, I think that sets the stage for a very, very strong recovery.
I agree. The pent up demand, there's no doubt about it. We do have a question from the audience, and Camille, so we're going to get to your question, and then we're going to wrap up for today. So I know this is really quick. I know we could go into this for a very long time, and Omar, you've been on the board calls where we do get into this for a really long time. But Camille, your question is, what is your opinion on investing overseas? It looks like she may have, she's somehow involved with the Caribbean. So are most of your investments focused in the States or abroad?
We've only invested in the States, so my opinion would be purely speculative. I can't say I've got on the ground experience and what that's looking like, in the last 18 months.
Okay.
I feel like I have a bullseye aimed at me with that question. No, we are U.S. focused too now, but I spent a number of years in the Caribbean, investing, looking at opportunities in different markets, Bahamas, Dominican Republic, Jamaica. The challenge for the Caribbean, the big challenge is still and continues to be airlift and how you can get people in and out of the country with what's going on with the virus. And ultimately, can you get customers comfortable that they're going in and they're not going to be stuck in these places? So there's kind of the demand side of it is still a little bit questionable. The other side of it is having lived through it myself on multiple occasions, is insurance and the impact of hurricanes, and to what degree and what level of coverage you can obtain, whether you're comfortable as to whether or not you want to put more money in, or at least put money in for the first time in those destinations. So listen, I love it. I love visiting the Caribbean. I love being there, but it's still going to be a really, really challenging environment for some time to commit new capital there, given kind of the current situation that we're looking at with COVID.
Okay. Okay. Well, Camille, hopefully that answers your question. Omar, Joe, thank you so much. It's always such a pleasure chatting with you guys. So this is a tiny snippet of 50 different sessions happening from June 2nd to 3rd. It's digital. It's in your homes. Wish we could be in New York. Doesn't look like that's definitely not gonna happen this year. But this is just a tiny glimpse of it. So I'm gonna share my screen just for a few reminders. Get your ticket today. If you love today's session, we can guarantee that you will really love what's going on June 2nd to 3rd. Again, it's BLLAevents.com. And if you got any questions, we're always here, info@BLLAevents.com. Someone will get back to you within the next 24 to 48 hours. We're always here if you have any questions. If you're tell me who you are and say, if you're like, I don't know if this will be relevant to me. We can chat on the phone. We can go through it. We always want to make sure that this is valuable to everyone that's coming to this conference. And so with that, we're concluding today's first ever sneak peek of the Boutique Hotel Investment Conference. Omar, Joe, thank you for being a part of that.
Sure.
And we'll see everyone next week for the unfamiliar shift of partnership with all of the owners involved with the Urban Cowboy Catskills, Phil Hospod, and then husband-wife duo Lion and Jersey, and maybe their new baby. Let's see. But see everyone next week, and we'll see you June 2nd to 3rd, BLLAevents.com. Thank you, everyone. Bye, Omar.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.